get it in. Does to Smith. Jabari for three and the win. Yeah! He got it!
We are here to fuel the Rockets news. This is the Rockets Field podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Rashard Binkley. You can always find me on Twitter at Binkley Hoops. And you can find my written work over at SB Nation or The Dream Shake. And on today's show, we'll be talking about the top 3 reasons why your Houston Rockets have went from 0-3 to now 3-3 on the season, as the Rockets knocked off the Sacramento Kings for the second straight game, 122-97. Like I said, they also defeated the Sacramento Kings on Saturday, 107-89. So that makes back-to-back dominant performances by the Houston Rockets. And yes, we know De'Aaron Fox didn't play in either one of those games, but as good as the Rockets are playing, I don't know if it really would have mattered. Of course, the score would have been closer, but the Rockets are playing so well in these last 3 games, they probably still would have pulled out both victories over the Sacramento Kings as they get ready to take on the Lakers on Wednesday, trying to go 4-3. And in today's show, I'll be breaking down the 3 reasons why I believe the Rockets have went from 0-3 to now 3-3 and actually in the playoff picture right now. Yes, we know it's early, but when you've been the worst team in the league for 3 straight years running, you will take any bit of positivity you can. And yes, the Rockets, go look at it on ESPN or any other platform. The Rockets are actually in the playoffs as we speak right now. So I know Rockets fans will absolutely take that. But like I said, on today's show, we'll be talking about the 3 reasons why the Rockets have went from the basement now into playoff contention. And of course, I want to start with the Rockets defense. Like I said, I know Fox has been out the last couple of games. And yes, they've had some games where they gave up a large amount of points, like in the Orlando game and the San Antonio game, and even the game where they won against Charlotte. But overall, the defense has just been so much better this season. On the season, the Rockets only giving up a little over 108 points a game. That's a huge improvement over last season where they were toward the bottom of the league in opponent's points a game. They've been even better during this winning streak where they only given up an average of 101 points per game, which has been third in the last 3 games among the entire NBA. And it's not just been one player, not just been 2 players. Well, of course, we all know that Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks are probably the 2 best defenders on the team. And you're going to get a lot of your defensive pressure from those 2 guys. But it's not just been them. It's been players like alperensengun being in the right spot. There's been even Jalen Green giving a better effort on defense. Jae'Sean Tate coming off the bench being a bulldog on defense, and something he's been his entire career. The Rockets have been in the right spot at the right time. Their defense communication, something that MA has talked about all season, has been great. And you can tell that by the fact that if you look at another stat, the Rockets are next to last in block shots. They only average 3 blocks a game. Something I think is kind of going to carry over the entire season. They're not really a shot blocking team, but they have been, like I said, communicating a lot better on defense. Something that honestly you need more of that than you need somebody that's a great shot blocker. It's not, of course, you would love to have a great shot blocker, but at the end of the day, you can only block the best shot blocking teams are only going to block like 10 or 11 blocks a game at the high level. So you need more than just blocking shots. You need the defense communication. You need people in the right spot. You need all out hustle and intensity. And that's something you got for the entire Rocket team so far this season. Something I know MA has been pushing since training camp. I remember being out at training camp, and the communication on defense, you can hear it all the way from the hallway as much as they were talking. And that's something that's carried over from the preseason. And at times, definitely, especially this 3-game stretch, has carried over into the regular season. That's something they're going to need throughout the season. Like I said, they're not going to be a shot blocking team. They're not going to be a team that's going to be blocking shots left and right and keeping people out of the paint that way. They're going to have to do it by playing extremely hard and by having the right defensive plays called and having great defensive communication, something they've had a lot of so far this season. Like I said, in the last 3 games, they've been even better than they've been on the season. But the fact that they only given them 108 points per game is a huge win for a team that's been probably the worst defensive team in the league the last few seasons. Like I said, they go 139, 135 points last season back-to-back game against the Kings. This season against the Kings, they hold them under 100 points in both games. The number 2 reason I think the Rockets have went from 0-3 and 3-3 has been their ball movement. Of course, we know alperensengun had a career high in assists last night. 2 games before that, we saw Jalen Green have 4 assists in the 4th quarter. We've seen Fred VanVleet have a couple of double-digit assist games. Fred VanVleet is actually in the top 10 in assists per game this season at 8.2. Alperen is only one of two centers that's in the top 12 in assists this season. All other 10 players are actually guards. Alperen is second in the league among centers with 7 assists per game after coming off that career high in assists. But it's not just those 2 or 3 players, it's the entire team. The Rockets don't have any ball stickers this year. They don't have anybody that gets the ball, dribbles it out, holds the ball. We know the Rockets have had that for going all the way back to the James Harden days. And then a guy that will remain nameless, who would never play again for the Rockets because he was traded this offseason, he had that problem the last few seasons as well. Now the Rockets have players that move the ball around. It's not just one guy that's going to be ball dominant. Another thing Ime talked about all off season into this regular season is not just having one facilitator. If you have multiple facilitators, team can't just key in on one player and take that player out, and then the whole offensive game plan falls apart. If you have multiple guys like they have right now, one night it may be one guy, the next night it might be somebody else. And so far, that's what it's been for the Houston Rockets. And that's why in the last 3 games in this winning streak, the Rockets have averaged over 30 assists per game the last 3 games. That's a remarkable number for a team that only averaged 22 assists per game last season, which was dead last in the NBA. And the last 3 seasons, the Rockets have been probably, if not the worst, near the probably second or third worst team when it came to assists per game. So the fact that the last 3 games they're averaging over 30 assists a game, that's a remarkable turnaround for a team that has struggled passing the ball throughout these last 3 horrible seasons. And even on the season, the Rockets are averaging over 27 assists per game, which will put them top 10 in the league in assists. Like I said, a small sample size, but like I said, when you've been as bad as the Rockets have been, you will take any positivity that you can get. And the fact that the Rockets are averaging over 27 assists per game on the entire season says a lot about the team makeup and the players that they brought in that are willing to pass the ball. Now, not expecting to always have the ball in their hands. That says a lot, and that's something that they have to continue if they want to get wins against the Lakers and the Pelicans in their next 2 games to close out this week. Like I said, they average over 30 assists per game. Alperen had a great game last night. He dominated in the first half. He dominated by not even having to be a dominant scorer. He dominated because the Rockets were running offense through him through that entire first half, and then the third quarter he took over offensively. So to be able to, flip the switch and go from Shane Hub to a dominant guy in the post, that says a lot about Emperor Shangun and his whole progression he's had from the start of his career until now. Has been pretty amazing to watch. And like I said, even Jalen Green, who's not necessarily known for being a playmaker, had those 4 huge assists a couple of nights ago that kind of helped close out the game against the Kings. And then Fred VanVleet, like I said, had 2 games where he's had a double-double in points and assists. That's a pretty huge deal, especially for a Rockets point guard. And then players like Dylan Brooks, who's been moving the ball around. Jason Taylor came in and made some good passes. Pretty much everybody that's come in and has been unselfish, has been passing the ball. So that's definitely something good to see. It's something you hopefully will see throughout the rest of the season. And then the third and final point I want to get to while the Rockets went from 0-3 to 3-3, and that's Dylan Brooks, a guy that people like Kevin O'Connor and a lot of people in the media and fans have said during the offseason that he probably won't even get a contract. He won't even be in the NBA. He'll be playing overseas somewhere. That's how bad of a reputation Dylan Brooks had after the Memphis Grizzlies got knocked out by the Los Angeles Lakers in last year's playoff. This year, Dylan Brooks has been exactly what the Rockets have wanted. I guarantee 95% of teams in the league would love to have Dylan Brooks on their team for $20 million a year over the next 4 years, the way he's been playing so far this season. Coming into last game, he was actually on the 60-60-90 split, which is just ridiculous. And it dropped a whole few points the last game where now he's shooting 56-56 and 90% split on the season. Of course, it's not going to stay that the whole season. We know he's going to regress to the mean like every other player does. But if he can shoot around 38% from 3 and 45 to 48% from the field, the Rockets would absolutely take that because they know exactly what they're going to get from him on the defensive end. And not only that, he's averaging over 4 rebounds per game, which is a career high for him. He hasn't averaged over 4 rebounds in any season in his career. So he's just doing it all right now for the Houston Rockets. And Rafael Stone has to be over the moon right now as far as that signing is concerned, and also with Fred VanVleet, who another guy the Rockets got absolutely destroyed for giving that huge contract to. Both players have had a huge impact, but especially Dillon Brooks, who, along with Sengun, have been the Rockets' two best players so far this year. Dillon Brooks has been one of the best two-way players in the entire league, and so everybody's going to be focusing on Wednesday's game, just like everybody focused on his matchup against Curry, and they're not looking at the bigger picture with Dillon Brooks. The fact that he has been everything the Rockets have wanted and more since he's been brought over this season. And if he can continue that type of play, I'm not saying that the Rockets are necessarily going to be a play-in team. I know it's a long way to go, but if he can continue that play, something that nobody expected, that's going to go a long way from the Rockets being a 10-win improved team to possibly a 15 to 20-win improved team. Dillon Brooks' play is something that not a lot of people expected. So if they get this type of play or something similar to this all season, I don't know. We may be talking about a different story when it comes to Houston Rockets. Just like with the Houston Texans, nobody expected them to be where they are right now at 4-3. So that's definitely something to keep your eye on. Dillon Brooks is absolutely a top three reason why the Rockets have went from 0-3. He's just been great all season, but specifically during this 3-game stretch, he is definitely one of those top three reasons. As usual, we appreciate everybody that gives us support every week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because that definitely helps everybody. And the like button helps everybody see this content. And it helps us with the YouTube algorithm because we know how the YouTube algorithm can be sometimes. It can sometimes vary videos. So if you give us those likes and hit that subscribe button, that absolutely helps us in the long run. We will definitely be back for another episode on Saturday. I'll be here with Vader as we'll be recapping Wednesday's game against the Lakers and Friday game against the Pelicans, a game I will be out at, the first game in the in-season tournament for the Houston Rockets. I'll be out at the game, so we definitely have pre and post game up on the YouTube page. Another reason why you should be hitting that subscribe button, because we're one of only a couple of pages that will have that pre and post game up after the game. So make sure, like I said, you're hitting that like and subscribe button. We appreciate support. And make sure you check out the next episode on the Rocket Fuel podcast.